Hey there, welcome back. This video is going to be about the control throws, and I like to measure them carefully. In the book on page 12, in the manual on page 12 here, it gives you a chart that shows what the control throws should be. And to measure them, I use this handy tool. It's called the, made by Great Plains, the AccuThrow Control Surface Deflection Meter. And because it's Great Plains, you get it from Tower Hobbies. This is what it looks like. You got two little pads here to hold it in place. And so what you do is you put the thing on the, for example, the rudder here, and you get the two pads lined up so that the 0 point is in the center of the rudder, like that. Okay. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to move the camera so you can get a better shot, look at this, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Be back in a second. Okay, I'm back, and I'm going to show you a close-up of the rudder here with the AccuThrow gauge on it. And let's make sure it's in focus. That's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to turn on the radio and let it warm up. Turn on the airplane. Okay. And we're going to wiggle the rudder. Okay. Now, the chart shows that in low rates, the rudder should move 25 millimeters. Okay. So I'm on low rates. And that's pretty close. That's an inch, 25 millimeters to an inch. Okay. So that looks like an inch that way. That's not quite an inch that way, not quite an inch that way. Okay. The problem is when you go to high rates, they want high rates at 40 millimeters, which is like an inch and a half. And this rudder just won't get there. It goes over to an inch and a quarter. Inch and a quarter, inch and a quarter. So, and that's with this clevis here on the innermost hole. Remember, the innermost hole will give you the most throw of the rudder, and the arm on the servo is on the outermost hole, which will give you the most throw. So with the setup we've got, we're not going to get 40 millimeters. Okay, we're going to get about 32. So, if you haven't already moved this, if you haven't already moved the clevis on the control arm there, the control horn, over to the innermost hole, go ahead and do that, and that will get you the maximum throw at the high rate, and at low rate it gets you close enough to an inch to call it good. Okay, and the mid rate is just somewhere in between. Okay, so that's the rudder. Let me stop here and I'll show you the elevator. Okay, I'm back, and here's a shot of the elevator. There's the elevator. There's the horizontal stab, and there's the elevator. And I have the airplane on low rates, and on low rates it's supposed to be, elevator's supposed to be 8 millimeters, which is 5/16. So let's see if it goes up 5/16. There's 2, 4, 5/16, and on low rates it actually goes up to a half and down to a half. Okay. So that means the low rate is probably too high. So I'm going to go into, let me zoom out here for a second. I'm going to go into the DR and Expo, okay, and then go down to where it says elevator, aileron, and switch it to elevator. Okay, and so the low rate, as you recall, was 70%. So I'm going to lower that probably to about, let's try 50%. Okay, so now if I zoom back in, okay, and make sure that's focused enough. I guess it is. All right, so now that's going 2, 4, 6/16, and that's almost, I guess that's 5/16 that way. Maybe the thing isn't quite centered. Okay, so I think the 50% throw is close enough to the 8 millimeters. The 5/16 is right there to 2, 4, 5/16. So we're on a 16th over. So, but I'm going to leave it at 50%. And so for the elevator, we're going to use 50% for the low, which I'm going to go to mid rate, and I'm going to split the difference between 50 and 100. So the mid rate will be 75, and the high rate will stay at 100, so I get maximum throw. So the high rate is going to be a pretty good throw there, and so we can expect to do some great things with that. But low rates, I like the low rates to match what's in the manual, and that was 8 millimeters. And so let me get set up on the aileron, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are with the aileron. Let me zoom in on it. And you can see I'm going to be in low rates, and I'm going to make it go up. There's 2, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 16ths, and we want the same low rate to be 8 millimeters. So I want that to be 5/16. So I'm going to lower this aileron, try down to 50 as well. See if that's enough or too much. Let's see. So there's 2, 4, 5. Okay, so that's 5/16. That may be a little less. I'm going to try 55%, maybe even 60. Let's try 60. We'll go back to 55. Okay. Yeah, I like 55 better. Okay. Remember, we got differential on. I can turn differential off, so I'm really measuring how far it goes up, because the down is being affected by the differential. So that goes up to really 6/16 instead of 5. I'm going to live with that. So that's 55%, okay, on the low rates. So on the mid rate, I'm going to probably go down to, say, 75. And we'll see how that does. Yeah, it goes up to a half and down to a half. And on high rates, we're at 5/8 and minus 5/8. Okay. Sounds like I need to charge my battery. Flight pack's down to 5.5 volts. So I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be it for the. So I'm going to use 55% for the low rates, and 75% for the mid rates, and 100% for the high rates. And that way the low and the mid rates are close. The high rate is close to the mid rate, actually, and the high rate in the book is close to the mid rate on the radio, and the high rate on the radio is full throw, and that'll give it a real nice aileron roll probably. Okay, so that's the control throws. That's how you measure them. If you need to adjust them, you adjust the position in and out of the clevis on the control horn. Notice on the control horn here, I don't know if you can see it there or not. Let me back out just a little. Okay, right here on the control horn, the clevis is on the outermost hole, which is the gentlest of the throws. Actually, the same on both sides. So we could make it larger, but we really don't need to. The elevator was spot on. The rudder, we had to be on all the way on the innermost hole. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.